happened for me that night when I was diagnosed.
After your MRI.
Yes, after my MRI, I got the diagnosis. So that morning, I was on one side of the door with infinite life and potential. Infinite life and potential, unlimited way ahead. By that evening, I had walked through the doorway of cancer. And I didn't walk through the doorway alone. I took my family with me. They were crushed. They were crushed. And then I was admitted, it's COVID. So I was admitted to the ward alone. And I slept just an hour that night. And you can imagine. So the default brain is goes into safety. That's the default. And interestingly enough, so my default was, what now? What if every catastrophe that could happen? What's going to happen to my family? Why me? That's where my default brain, I have a mindfulness practice, so I'm watching the stream of my mind. But I'm also primed. I've been through appreciative inquiry training in the exchange community. And so I'm primed for actually looking at the world through a different lens. And appreciative inquiry was developed by David Cooper-Ryder. And David Cooper-Ryder has this powerful quote. He says, questions create worlds. Questions create worlds. And the questions we ask can create a world of suffering or a world of flourishing. So a world of suffering or a world of flourishing wellness. So a miracle happened. I was able to find a generative question. I was able to find a generative question that pivoted me from the default questions, which is, what now? To I asked a different question. I asked the question, the generative question, and questions have altitude. And if you get to a questions where you can actually get a question at significant enough altitude, you have a question that can lead to answers, that can lead to new questions, that can lead to answers, and touch down with something pragmatic you can use in your life. So the question that I pivoted to was not what now, but what matters most now. I asked the question of purpose. I asked the question of purpose, which is the first tenet of conscious capitalism. And when time is running short, there's only one answer that tends to make sense. Only one answer that tends to make sense. It's make every moment count. Make every moment count. And then it led to another question, which was how? Which was how? And that led into two streams of answers. One was live intensely loving relationships in cycles of receiving and giving love. And I have been so nourished in that stream. I've been so nourished in the stream. So that is my, and this is a moment that counts between us. I feel like we're in the cycle of receiving and giving love with each other. I'm intent on making this moment. Everybody listening, I hope you can feel my heart. I hope you can feel my heart. Because this is a moment that counts. And I encourage you to think about, who can you bless with your love right now? Who can you bless within the receiving and giving love right now? Because you will be so nourished by that. So every moment that I've had a touch point since my diagnosis has been a moment of nourishment. So that was the one stream. And that what that stream has given me is an additional appreciation, because I used to think that conscious leadership represented the awakening, but it's only one of 3 dimensions of the awakening. The first dimension, and it's a mindfulness dimension. So I thought, you know, it's like a, but I now appreciate the deeper meaning of conscious leadership. Beyond it being a mindful awakening, conscious leadership is only as powerful as it's connected to an awakened heart. It's the awakened heart that mobilizes people into the space. And what I am appreciating about the mobilization that's happening around me, what I love about evoked compassion, is that I get to say, because when people hear that I've got many, many loving relationships with, you know, I've been working with many ecosystems for years, and I have such wonderful relationships in all these ecosystems, and it's nourishing. And then they hear that I've got the diagnosis, and so their heart breaks open. So here's what I say. I appreciate the evoked compassion, but I actually want to make it very clear that I say, I will take 5% of that evoked compassion that you're expressing and drink that in as the best of medicine. But I would prefer you would use the other 95% to soothe your own suffering, and then to bring that into your own families and communities and the world at large. So you do me the honor by using, and what I love about the heart breaking open is it opens, it's an opening to a heart space. So that is the, the first stream, live intensely loving relationship. The second stream of answers that came back was my desire to leave a legacy with my work, the intense desire to leave a legacy with my work. And that's what the Living Well from Within playlist represents. I want to leave a legacy, a rich legacy with my work. Would it serve?